live today. As I said, I will go live. Talk about these two great fights coming up. First one starts today, or in 6 hours' time, you could say 8 hours' time. Today, tomorrow, whatever the time is where you are. Inoue versus Fulton. So both guys have made weights. We also have Spence versus Crawford. End of this week, July the 29th, two great fights. So yeah, definitely something that I'm looking forward to for sure. And this is the real deal. These are the true fighters. These guys are all at their best, coming in undefeated. What's going on, Cole? Thanks for tuning in, my friend. I appreciate it. Just talking boxing. First one is today or tomorrow your time, July the 25th. Inoue versus Fulton. It's a great fight for sure. I do apologize for legs. But so yeah, basically I'm just talking boxing. This fight here is Inoue. Close to 90% knockout ratio. He was accused from Fulton's team of the hand reps. Don't watch a lot of boxing. You need to get into a Cole. If you enjoy combat sports or wrestling or anything like that, this is the time to tune in. These guys here, like I say, they're at their best. They're all undefeated. We got a Japanese fighter, close to 90% knockout ratio. Great fighter, great puncher, I should say. Great puncher. Undefeated resume. Challenging Fulton, Stephen Fulton from the USA. And he's coming in, the champion, defending his titles in Japan. So, he's trying to make a statement. And, it's one not to miss. It's unusual that we see boxing on weekdays of this magnitude. This is for the unification fight. And Fulton's fighting for his titles in Japan. So he's trying to make a statement. He's challenging a guy, like I say, close to 90% knockout ratio. What's going on, Bud Fowles? It's definitely a impacted a fight to watch for sure. It'll be an entertaining fight to watch, without a doubt. And like I said, Fulton's team was accusing Inoue's team, or Inoue, I should say, the fighter of his hand wraps. Saying that, hey, this guy's not wrapping up his hands properly, before the fight. So they were saying that they were going to pull out. It has now been confirmed that Fulton will go ahead, regardless of adversity. He's going to fight regardless. Hope all is good. Hey, how's it going, Bud Files? How's it going, Cole Waltz? Hope the volume's all good. Hope you guys can hear me. So it's definitely a fight to watch. Fulton against Inoue today or tonight or in 8 hours' time, I should say. Definitely one not to miss. What's going on, Real Boxing IQ? Thanks for stopping in. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. I don't think I've seen you before. What's going on? Jason Buzzer, thanks for tuning in. Smash the red button if you're new. Fulton is going to set up and he doesn't even know it. Fulton is getting set up and he doesn't even know it. That's a good comment. Is the fight going to be continued? It is. Get going ahead. So Fulton saying, regardless of adversity, glove reps of the reps he's gonna fight anyway. So the fight's definitely gonna go ahead. Obviously, before the fight, they're gonna have members of their team are gonna expect the reps and all that. The last thing we want is any false play here. That's the last thing that we want. All we ask for is a fair game. Real boxing IQ saying Fulton's getting set up. It's up to his team to go investigate, check it out. And I mean, if he's taking shortcuts, then obviously, Fulton can wrap it exactly the same. You know what I mean? Because he's in a way saying that, hey, listen, the Japanese rules are different. So I mean, Fulton's just got to apply by that rules, and not only that, it's in the contracts. Inoue will get the win, maybe a stoppage. For sure, Inoue's the favourite going in. Without a doubt, he's the favourite going in. Close to 90% knockout ratio, like I was saying. Before I continue, like I say, if you're new, hit the red button. And I also apologise for the lag. I just got a water on me. Grab a drink, if you want. I've just got a water on me. Continue the stream going on. I appreciate everyone stepping in today. Real Boxing IQ. Gerson, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And Bud Fowles, Cole Waltz, I appreciate all you guys. Thanks for stopping in. Smash the like on the way in. Just got my water on me today. What's going on? We got another boxing guy in the building. The Word, spreading the word as always. Go check him out too. I've been subscribed for years. I appreciate it, man. I think this is the first time that I've seen you step in. And I know I don't really go live that much, but I appreciate you stepping in, man, and tuning in. Gerson, is the fight gonna be continued? Like I say, Gerson, they're gonna do the so Fulton said he's gonna fight regardless. He doesn't care about the reps. He's gonna try to overcome adversity. We're not talking about gloves. We're talking about the repsing, I believe, to my understanding. What's going on, Keisha? So I mean, it's in the contract anyway. Even if the Japanese rules is different from the US, it's in the contract. That this fight, is gonna. This is the rules. These are the obligations. Sign the dotted line. You're not surprised. He was in shock. I don't think that he thought that they would go to that extent. He thought that he was just gonna fight him. And when they mentioned the reps, Fulton said, hey, listen, I'm here to overcome adversity. I don't care about the reps. And in a way saying, listen, I'm gonna be, apply by the rules. I'm gonna follow the rules. I'm not making any, breaking any rules or anything like that. So you know what I mean? So it's a legit fight. We just saw the Cambosis fight, and we know what happened there. That was a clear robbery. We don't want any more, controversial things going on in the ring. Like I say, 2 great fights coming up this week. This one is not to miss. This one's tonight. Or, like I say, 8 hours, wherever you are. You got to tune into this one. This is for the bouts. Everything's on the line here. Unification. I believe Boxing IQ saying, Inoue's, I'm going for Inoue. I'm taking Fulton. The Word saying, I'm taking Fulton. I still want to see more from Inoue. I just don't think he has the skills and still needs to see his power translate into a new weight division, I think he was trying to say. I mean, Inoue can crack the Word, I mean, close to 90% knockout ratio is no joke. I know what you're saying, though. It is different when you go up in weight. Sometimes, those guys at a heavier weight can take those punches, It's a great point. What's going on, Mr. Whistle? It's a great point, but I think Inoue is just one of those guys that, he hits hard. I mean, to drop Donnie, within 2 rounds is a huge statement. Donnie, we all know him as a veteran, fantastic, great lethal left hook, and he managed to drop him twice. I know that he is aged, but I mean, that is a good point. It is at a higher weight, and Fulton is the bigger guy. Let's not forget that. Crawford will stop Spence on Saturday night. Don't be surprised if it's not competitive. Either Errol makes too many mistakes, he reaches and is always off balance. He'll be counted hard early. I mean that's you know what I gotta say to that, man. I mean I don't think it is gonna be close. I think you hit the nail on the head. In my opinion, I think that there will be a. I don't think it goes the distance. I think there will be knockdowns. I just the thing with that fight is that Crawford is great, like you say. Crawford with Spence, he always when he starts off, he always starts with the jab. And if Crawford, because Crawford's, he can go from left or right, he can change it. If Crawford can confuse Spence coming in with the jab, trying to start off a combination, it's going to be a long night for Spence. So, I mean, Crawford's very skilled. He's one of those guys, he has it all, but Spence also, he also brings a lot to the plate. He's also a pressure fighter. He brings a lot in terms of when he gets inside the pocket. He really uses his size. But I mean, that's a great fight. I don't think it does go the distance myself. What's going on, Lisa J Stocks? Thanks for tuning in. Let's go back to the comments. Fulton is a great boxer, but he is fighting in Japan. Yeah, he's fighting in Japan. He's gonna have to be great for 8 rounds, not just good, great. We saw. I don't know how you guys scored the Loma versus Haney, but I mean, a lot of people thought that Loma won, and they gave it to Haney. It was very close, though. Well, in Fulton's case, he's going to have to be better than close. He's going to have to be great. He's going to have to dominate at least 8 rounds to get the decision. It's going to be very hard for him, and he's going to have to put on a poker face. If he does get tagged and he's hurt, he can't afford the judges to see that he's hurt. Because with boxing it comes to effective punches. That's the number one thing that most judges look out for. So I mean, as long as Fulton can move around and he can take the punches without showing that he's hurt. If he does get hurt, then he does stand a chance in the facts. He can hit, but he needs a target. Well known in boxing, when you're dealing with slick fighters, their power doesn't matter when you can't hit the target. When he needs a target, let me read that again. Facts, he can hit, but he needs a target. What we know in boxing, when he's dealing with slick fighters, the power doesn't matter. And Fulton's a slick boxer. He's a guy that boxes on the back foot. He does box on the back foot, and Inoue's a guy that comes forward, he comes straight, but he's also got that power, so I mean, even though Fulton's the bigger guy, the body's always going to be open to be hit, Inoue's gonna land eventually, I mean, if it's not to the head, if he's slick enough to avoid the head shots, can he take the body shots, that's another question. Why they think Crawford is too small is beyond me. They need to do their homework. Oh, Crawford can take a punch for sure. Crawford is not small at all. He's actually fighting, sparring with bigger guys. And I mean, we don't see Crawford always being on the canvas. He can take a punch, and it's a joke. It's gonna be a good fight for sure. Real boxing IQ. Crawford's definitely elite level. I believe that he's more skilled than Crawford, but I think that Crawford has his own things on the table that he can offer. He's got his own strategy in place. I just feel Spence is going to drag Crawford into the waters. I believe Crawford will fight instead of boxing, and that favours Spence. Excuse me. Like I say, once he gets into his rhythm, as long as he can initiate his attack, so I mean, if he can, because normally with Spence, he always starts, if you watch his fights, I apologize for the lag, hope you guys can still hear me. When he fights, he always starts with the jab, he always gets into it, but he starts with the jab, we're not talking about a guy that starts with with the lead shot, with the left hand lead, and then he gets into it, he always starts with the jab. As long as he can, establish his jab, then you can get into his rhythm, But like I say, if Crawford's switching, changing angles, I might trick him a bit. It just depends how Spence retaliates to it. Agreed. Fulton would have to beat the hell out of Inoue and drop him to win. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that he will drop him. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. I can see the lag again. I do apologize. I was hoping that this wouldn't happen. I did say at the start of it, hey, it might lag. Please just be patient with me. I apologize for the lag. Um, I mean, Fulton may have to drop him, but if he's slick enough, and I mean really slick, if he doesn't really take much headshots, then as long as as long as he's working more, then in a way, as long as he's throwing more in the exchange, being busier, then he may win. He may not need to drop him, but real boxing IQ's got a point because Inoue knows how to box. He doesn't just know how to punch. He knows how to box. He knows how to move. So I mean, he's gonna land eventually. We can hear you loud and clear. I appreciate it. Thanks for the heads up. Like I say, grab a water. I've still got mine. Just take a little drink on here. But I mean, this one's definitely must see. You got to tune into this one. I'm not sure what the time is where you are. I think it's around about maybe 10 hours time the fight's on. I could be wrong. So I mean, make sure to tune in for sure. Okay, make sure to tune in for sure. Boxing IQ, I really see Spence getting stopped or Derek James throwing in the towel. He should have moved up or vacated his box. I mean, that's big statement to make. Spence, he's the sort of dude that I don't think that he will give up. I understand what you're saying. Derek James might throw in the towel, just like with Porter. How Porter's corner threw in the towel with Crawford. Once Crawford gets you, he will finish you. So I understand what you're saying there. I don't think that vacating the belts or moving up. I mean, this is a fight that we need to see. Real boxing IQ, regardless who wins. Both guys are undefeated. Both guys on top of the division. And Spence, he's ranked number 1. Let's not forget that. Even though Crawford's the favorite, Spence is ranked number 1. So I mean, Spence is on the top. You could say A side, B side, whatever. Even though Crawford's the A side and he's the favorite to win, Spence is ranked number 1. He's been champion longer. So I mean, this is a fight that we need to see. He's been, I wouldn't say champ longer. I would say, he's got more bouts on him. Let's just put it to you that way. We know that Crawford was, undisputed, moved up. So we'll just say, he holds more of the belts. I mean, he needs to challenge the beast. But I do think that he did need a tune-up. Real boxing IQ, I think you've got a good point. I think he did need a tune-up before the Crawford fight. Being inactive for a whole year. Even though, he had a great performance against Ugas, I still think, if you're challenging Crawford, excuse me, if you're challenging Crawford, you should have a tune-up fight. And same with Fulton. I think it comes on it too much. Yeah, it's a crazy time, Word. It's a crazy time to have a fight. It's a Wednesday in Japan. I mean, it's very unusual. Because we're used to the weekend fights. It's a very unusual fight. But I'm just saying, don't miss it. I'm a Spence fan, and I feel this way. I like them both. Oh, for sure. Both of them are. They've got good resumes. Both of them. A lot of people say Crawford's resume is no good. I mean, Crawford beat the guys. In his division at the time. He beat the top guys. Some great competition before he moved up. And then both of them beat. One of the hardest guys to beat, Sean Porter. So I mean, I don't know what they're talking about in resumes. Because both of them, in my opinion, they fought the hardest fight, Sean Porter. And Sean Porter was beating both of them until Spence dropped him until Crawford finished him, you know. So, I mean, this is the fights to make, you know. This is the fights to have, the best versus the best. I don't think Spence is getting stopped. I like Crawford, but that dog and Spence ain't nothing to play with. Spence is constantly spotting the Charlo and bigger people, for sure. You know, he's got a lot of dog in him. And I mean, you know, it's gonna come down to who's the better fighter. You know, it's that simple. After the car accident, Spence stayed really living in the gym. You know, even like the car accident and all that, you know, you gotta also understand word that you know, Spence, when he fought Ugas, you know, I've watched it back a couple of times now. You know, when he fought Ugas, you know, you think to yourself, wow, you know, Spence is back. But, you know, just before, I believe it was round 6, just watch it back. You know, he actually gets landed with the shots of the eye, and it seems like he just zones out. You know, I don't know if it's from the crash, but I mean, against Crawford, he's gonna have to be 120%. You know, at his best. Against Crawford, he can't afford any errors. Even though, you know, once Spence does get his rhythm, he is a dog in the ring. You know, he always fights like the bigger guy. He's definitely the hooker. You know, he goes in there with short range hooks, uses his size. You know, he's also got a back foot on him, you know, but I don't think he's going to use it in this fight. You know, Crawford's just too good in that aspect. I think he definitely needs to press forward against Crawford. I know Crawford will be able to deal with Spence's power and pressure. Apologise for that. Where are we? I know that Crawford will be able to deal with Spence's power and pressure. I see him struggling to cut off the ring. Where are we? I see him struggling to cut off the ring and getting hit harder often until he gets wobbled and stopped. I see Spence's power and pressure. I see him struggling to cut off the ring. Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't think that Crawford will be, you know, pushed back too much. I'm putting money on it. Definitely going to be the best fight in years. Spence does not react well to body shots. I've seen it in the Garcia and Ugas fight, and Crawford will be working his body. Oh, for sure, you know, Crawford's a guy that definitely, you know, he uses body shots a lot, especially when he's going for the finish. You know, he definitely targets the body. It's going to be a great fight, you know, Crawford, Spence, Inoue, Fulton. Definitely, you know, don't put money on this one. It's definitely a 50-50 in my opinion. But at the same time, I think it's going to be a competitive, not a competitive, sorry, it's going to be a definite winner. I don't think it's going to be a controversial fight. I think that definitely one person's going to get knocked down or knocked out, you know, in my opinion. What's going on, Warm Strong? Thanks for stopping in. I want to go to Vegas just to be out there for the fight, for sure. You know that the atmosphere there is gonna be amazing. It's definitely, like, you know, Crawford says, you know, Word says, one of the best fights in years. And there's a rematch clause on both sides too. You know, that's also a good thing. So I mean, if you do miss it this time, there's gonna be a rematch. I hope that I don't sound like. I apologise for the lag, guys. Please grab a drink, you know, just bear with me. I hope you guys can still hear me. Hope you guys can still hear me. I do apologise for the lag. Like I was saying, there's going to be a rematch clause, you know, both ways. I hope I don't sound like I'm not giving Errol a chance, but I feel he won't perform well. I mean, boxing IQ, you know, he didn't have a warm-up fight. He got rocked from Ugas, you know, I don't blame you. no hard, all to their own, no one's wrong here. Everyone's got their own opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if either guy gets knocked out clean. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like I say, I don't see this as a controversial fight. I think it's going to be a KO. Keisha's still here. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. What's going on? Patrick, appreciate you stopping in. Go check out Have Cheetah War View. Great channel. Click on the name. Go check it out. Go check it out for sure. One of the best channels out there. Just finished an interview as well. Great interview. Go check it out. Inoue will win. Inoue is definitely the favorite. He's fighting in Japan. But let's not forget, Fulton's the champion. So, he's trying to make a point, defend his titles. He says, I don't care about, whatever, the gloves, the wraps and all that. I don't care about that. That's what he's saying. So, it's one not to miss, Inoue's just got that power, close to 90% knockout ratio. But like the word says, we haven't seen him crack at 122 before. You know what I mean? So it's definitely one to watch. And the interesting thing is that, if you look at the polls, it's straight down the middle, 50-50, just like Spence Crawford, 50-50. So both of these fights are basically, a lot of people are on the fence. A lot of people are on the fence with both of these fights. If Fulton is on the back foot, he definitely needs to, like I say, put on a poker face, because Inoue can punch hard. He cracks hard. Fury should retire. Fury, the thing with Tyson Fury is that, I still think he's quite arguably, I still think he's the best out there. And I know that he's making, excuse me. I know that he's making a fight that no one wants to see, but without Tyson Fury, what else is out there? You know what I mean? Fury's just unique, 6'9", moves well. And as disappointed I am, I don't want to see him retire. I just want to see him fight the beast. Usyk, Fury, let's make it happen. You know what I mean? Because, Fury's what, 34? So he's still got a lot of years in him. He's still got a lot of years in him. I just think it's too soon for him to retire. I think he may need to vacate the belt. I think the WBC is definitely, giving him a lot of leverage, as well as Ruiz Wilder, a lot of leverage. That fight was ordered last November. Still no, still nothing's happened. Tyson Fury allowing him to keep the belt after, a whole year out of the ring, you could say. Last time before was in December. Excuse me. It's a bit shocking, it's a bit shocking. Let's grab water. How's your day going though, man? Day is going good. Boxing IQ, I wasn't gonna go live today, but I told the people I'm definitely gonna go live. So I try to stick to my word, and I appreciate guys like you and everyone else that showed up. And for you to say that you've been subscribed for a while, it's good to know that there's a boxing channel out there that supports and things like that. It's great to know that I'm doing something right. It's always good when the boxing public step in and talk boxing. The heavyweights talk, the heavyweights talk, but no one's fighting. There, that's the thing, it's and it's fortunate that we have these other fights, because heavyweight's always been the number one division, but in this era, it's just been the opposite. Heavyweights has been on the bottom. And I'm a heavyweight guy. I enjoy the heavyweights the most. And I've got to turn to these other divisions because, like you say, they're not making the fights. Not like they used to anyway. Not like they used to anyway. They used to all fight each other. Now it seems that they're just not fighting. What's going on? G5 Jeff TV. Go check out G5 Jeff TV. We're just talking boxing. Inoue versus Fulton. I believe it's a 9-hour window. I might be wrong. It's just around the corner. I must see. A lot of people. Some people are saying Fulton's gonna win. Some people are saying Inoue's gonna win. It's a split fight, same as Spence Crawford. In the chat, it's 50-50, as well as basically what I've seen online. It's 50-50. So two great fights. It's always good when people are on the fence. It makes the fights more interesting. Where we know that it's going to be anyone's fight. Everyone's got their own favourite. Definitely an interesting one. And yeah, on that note, go check out G5 GFTV. Another great channel out there. The latter classes are eager to fight each other. Yeah, I mean, I'm basically jumping from division to division, Patrick. Just to find the good fights. That's because I like to, talk about the fights that everyone know of. Because I know a lot of people step in here, and they don't really know much of the fighters. So I like to talk about the names that people know, and I'm trying to look in different divisions to try to find the fights because no one's going 101 division. We had Devin Haney. Now he's talking about fighting. Program going up. They're always chopping up and down. So, I mean, it's always which division are you going to cover? So I'm covering all of them, trying to talk about the best fights out there. The winner needs to give Innes his shot. I think he's earned it at this point. The Innes is good. Innes, Boots Innes is good for sure. I think that there you guys got some subs. Real Boxing G5 Jeff. Patrick's subscribe to you guys' channels, and definitely go check him out too. He's got a great channel, great interviews. If you're a horror fan, you'll definitely enjoy that too. Enjoy the talk. But I mean, it's a two-way rematch clause, I believe. Boxing IQ. So I mean, I don't think they'll fight each other. I don't think they'll fight Innes. I think that the winner will go up and challenge Charlo. That's what I think. I know Charlo's tied up with Canelo, but I think that after they've had their rematch clause, maybe had two fights, then I think the winner will go up, or even both of them will go up and wait. Although Boots Innes deserves a shot, I just think that he might not get one. I might be wrong. I might be wrong, but I'm just saying. I think that these guys, especially Spence, he's already big enough as he is. If Crawford win, I think he'll try to challenge Charlo. Excuse me. I think he'll try to fight Charlo. You know what I mean? There's a Kiwi heavyweight who was 22-1. Yeah, that's another story. He's got to first get up to the top 10. I want to see him. I want to see the best fight the best. But Innes is good for sure. Boxing IQ. He's good for sure. He definitely showed a great performance on his last fight. I'd like to see him challenge Ortiz. What's going on, TFM? Let me ask you this. At what point do you think a champion should be stripped of the title due to inactivity? Jamal, Fury, and the others need to be stripped for not fighting off 100%, 150%. I don't know how Jamal still has his title, 2 years out of the ring. I don't know what's going on there. Fury, saying, oh, well, we couldn't make a fight. There's plenty of names out there. Plenty of names out there. So he's got a great, got a great point there. Excuse me, apologize for that. Like I said, I was a bit under the weather, but I still came along, still went ahead. Salute CFM. I think that Fury should definitely be shipped for sure. It's bummed that Tank Davis and Devin Haney are acting thuggish around the ring. With Tank, I think it's just, discipline. Just no discipline at all. You know what I mean? Getting in the hit and run. And then, it's one of those things, when you're big, a big star, you don't really get much discipline. We saw that with Mike Tyson as well. He was all over the place. I'm not saying that Tank's as big as him, but I'm just saying, Devin Haney, I think he needs to follow rules. And he messed up, He had a gun. He messed up. Sam Esparto, he messed up. What's going on? Bruce Gas Boxing. Go check him out as well. Bruce Gas Boxing. He's, he sometimes he covers the fights. I think he covered the Kambosos fight. The biggest robbery out there. One of the biggest robberies out there. I was disappointed in that for sure. I hope that Kambosos, watches it back and says, hey, I was wrong. I should just, give this guy a rematch. He definitely won. Definitely won. Because sometimes the boxers don't know until they watch it back, And we saw Josh Taylor say, hey, listen, I watched it back and I still won. So I hope that Kambosos watches it back and he does the right thing. I hope that he does the right thing. Because we all know that was a robbery. He got outboxed, plain and simple. He got outboxed. He got outworked. He just couldn't, he couldn't fight inside. And, he was getting lined up for that left hand all the time, and those uppercuts were getting him. He got outboxed, plain and simple. There's no breakdown needed, everyone knows. Kambosos lost the fight. 6 months of inactivity should mean you get stripped. Good point. Boxers never learn, always with entourages. Frank Martin versus Santos. Yeah, that's a great fight. That's another good fight. That's another good fight. Agreed, TFM. Yeah, boxers. Especially the guys at the top. The heavyweights, I should say. Those guys. They're not getting any younger. It's not a Mike Tyson at 19. It's not a Ali at 22. These guys are mid to late 30s, you know what I mean? And they're just not fighting each other. We don't want to see two old guys go in there and they don't look the same. We don't want to see that. You know what I mean? And the longer they drag it out, the worse it's going to be. The worse it's going to be for us, for everyone. Kambosos has been in big fights back to back, and his performance showed by not performing. Well, Maxi surprised him. Kambosos just, he went in there and he didn't he didn't have an answer for a southpaw, you know, just like Joyce versus Zhang. He didn't have an answer for a southpaw, you know, that left hand just keeps landing. You just can't get the angles right, you know, they've got to practice against southpaws. Crawford knows how to deal with southpaws because even though he's right-handed, he can fight the whole fight in a southpaw position. You know, that's going to be different. I don't think that he underestimated Hughes, Patrick. You know, that's just my opinion. All to their own, I just think that he didn't train enough with the southpaw. You know, he just couldn't read him. He didn't know how to measure spacing. He didn't know how to box on the inside. You know, and when you can't initiate attack and you don't know what angles to come at, you know, you look foolish. You know what I mean? Even when he fought Annie, he tried to go in there in a southpaw position and he had no answers. You know, he didn't know how to get inside of him because he doesn't know how to box southpaw. You know, it was a hope thing. You know, he doesn't really know. It's different. The angles are different. Everything's different about it. I give Kambosos props, you know, for beating Lopez. You know, I mean, I took my hat off to him. An Australian guy, you know, going out there, he won the Undisputed, you know, he did his thing. But I mean, I don't think that he's a A-level fighter. I think he's, you know, B or C. I don't think that he can, you know, he's saying that he wants to fight Shakur, he wants to fight Tank. I just don't think he's on their level, you know, in my opinion. I just think that it's not good enough. Although Tank hasn't really fought big names, you know, I'm still giving Tank the benefit of the doubt because he can hit hard. You know what I mean? He's got that power. And, you know, he brings that excitement with the power. There's a comment said, thank you all for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Yeah, like 6 months, you know, should mean that you get stripped. You know, that's a good point. I mean, I wish there was penalties, you know, because you got to understand it takes about a 3-month camp as well, you know. So let's just say you make the fight every 3 months, you still got to have a 3-month camp. You know what I mean? So I think that the boxers should do like medical checks every quarter. And if they, you know, if they're fit and healthy and they've recovered from their last fight, then they should be obligated to fight, you know. That's what I think how they should do it. They should go into a fight 3 months later, you know, have a medical check, get the all clear for fitness and all that, you know, their health's all good, and then they're obligated to make a fight. You know, that's how I would do it myself. You know, that's what I would say to these boxers. You know, it's pointless stepping back and doing nothing. But yeah, I don't know if Kambosos underestimated. He might have underestimated him. You know, he might have thought. But how do you think that you're a top level fighter when you get that much of a beating against Haney? You know what I mean? It wasn't a close fight against Haney on both occasions. So surely Kambosos was going in there thinking, I've got to have a comeback fight. I've got to, you know, go out there and look my best. Surely he wasn't under training for this fight. Do you know what I mean? Is Jared Anderson a paper tiger? I've never really rated Anderson too much, Patrick. I know that he's, you know, a big name in the US, but it's easy to look good against low opposition. You know what I mean? When we had, you know, Wilder and Joshua coming up, all we saw was first round knockouts. You know, Charles Martin was a guy that was a decent fighter. You know, he got the title. He fought big names. You know, he sparred with Joyce, Ruiz, fought Joshua, challenged, you know, good guys. Hughes was a respected fighter. I hope that Hughes gets a shot. We saw what happened with Barriers. People forget about fighters. After they get the controversial loss, and I just hope that these fighters do the right thing and give them a chance to fight. Big names, big money. Oh, Martin exposed them for sure. Martin exposed them for sure. Um, he showed Anderson that, hey, you're challenging, 6'4", 6'6", 6'7" giants. You're challenging giants out here. You're challenging guys that can punch hard. This is the giant heavyweight era. You know what I mean? So he definitely exposed them. Now Anderson knows I'm challenging, big fighters, guys that can punch hard. And I think that Anderson should go and fight, what's the guy's name? Jermaine Franklin. I think he should fight him. I don't think that he should challenge a big heavyweight. I just don't think he's ready for Anthony Joshua, for Wilder. I don't think he's ready for that yet. I think he needs to sharpen up. Because, Anderson's going to have to work inside, against the tall guys. He can't afford just to go straight back and get popped from a big shot. But now he got exposed for sure. Like I say, in a way, I don't know who's still here. It's still showing 6 people. I might be wrong. This thing lags all the time. But like I say, Inoue versus Fulton. This is a must-see. And let's hope that these two fights here, Inoue, Fulton, and Spence Crawford, after that Kambosos fight, let's hope that there's no more controversial decisions. The thing that I like about these two fights is that in both of these fights, I don't think it goes the distance. In both of these fights. And, because, we're dealing with 12 rounds, not 15 rounds. We see a lot of these fights go the distance, So, even though it's a 12-round fight, I still think that someone will lose. Someone will definitely get knocked down. Lose in a one-sided fight. That's just my opinion. I think with Spence Crawford, either guy could knock each other out. I just don't see it going the distance. It's not a fight where people, where boxers are going to say, listen, I'm going to stick and move. Now, these guys are guys that come forward. These guys are finishers. These guys are guys that can punch. And it always makes it exciting, when guys are going in there for the knockout, for the KO. Although Fulton's a guy that boxes on the back foot, Inoue's got one intention only, and that's to hurt Fulton. I'm still here, not a boxing fan, but you make it seem interesting. Oh, for sure, tune in for sure, Keisha. Tune in. Hope you get better, feeling better from the coffee. I've got a bit of a cough, I wasn't going to go live, but I did say to the public, I'm definitely going to go live. So, I thought I'd go live and chop it up before the big fight. Can Fulton take the punches? That's the big question. Can Fulton take the punches? Because, Inoue's a guy that, he can knock you out with a body shot or headshot. We have guys out there, Wilder, clear example. You don't see him knocking guys out with a body shot. You know what I mean? In Inoue's case, he knocks people out with body shots. And I think that's the problem that he made, one of the errors that he made against Fury. He was trying to punch him hard and knock him out to the body, but we haven't seen Tyson Fury drop by body shot. Some people have better punch resistance downstairs than upstairs, you know? You know what I mean? So it just depends on the fighter. And in Fulton's case, you know, there's a lot of body to hit. And if Inoue knows how to knock you out with a body shot, then he may just knock you out with the body shot, you know? He's the home fighter. And Fulton's accused him of hand wrap issues and things like that. So, I mean, it's disrespectful in a way, you know. It's going to make him even more angry. Because, I mean, he's got, like I say, a 90% knockout ratio. And basically his team saying you cheated. You know, that's what they're basically saying to him. You know, but I mean, I can understand why they are concerned. Inoue hits hard, you know what I mean? So it's definitely, you know, one to watch for sure. So yeah, tune in for sure. The fighter's on 8-9 hours time. Like I say, let's not look into the reps too much. Let's just watch these fights as fair play. Two great matchups, Inoue against Fulton, Crawford against Spence at the end of the week. You know, let's just watch it as fans. Forget about what the media is saying. You know, let's just appreciate the fighters and what they can offer. And may the best fighters win. You know, like I say, all these guys are undefeated. So you can't really, you know, look at form and say, oh, how did he lose? You know, none of these guys have lost. Although, you know, the Figueroa fight was close with Fulton. With Inoue, you know, the Donaire fight, the first one was close. You know, it's all fair play here. You know, it's all fair play here. 100% TFM. Let's forget about the Cambosos fight. Let's forget about the Loma fight just for this week. Let's treat these fights as no cheating. You know, fair play. Like Inoue says, listen, you know, I'm applying. You know, following the Japanese rules. Fulton's saying, listen, I'm gonna, you know, overcome adversity. I don't care about the reps. I mean, let's not consider the reps and all that, and let's just, you know, take our hat off to any of these fighters that wins. You know, if Fulton gets knocked out, you know, let's not say, oh, it was because of the reps. You know, if Fulton wins, you know, let's not make any excuses on Inoue's side. You know, let's treat these fights as fair play. You know, fair play. And I truly do believe, you know, none of these fights go the distance. That's just my opinion on it. You know, leave yours. What do you guys think on those fights? Who do you see winning? We had a good couple of people that stepped in today. You know, I appreciate everyone's time stepping into the chat, saying your opinion on what's what. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, you know, a lot of the chat was 50-50. You know, I believe Patrick was going for Inoue, Word was going for Fulton, Boxing IQ was going for Inoue, you know, but I think that, yeah, IQ was going for Inoue and also Crawford. Then we had Word going for Spence. You know, it was 50-50 for sure. You're definitely a mixed bag, which is good to see. You know, it's always good to see everyone else's opinions, what they think, and you know, the breakdowns and all that. You know, it's always interesting. But yeah, final predictions, leave it in the comments now or leave it on the replay. What do you guys think? I'm talking about the Inoue Fulton fight. Final thoughts. You know, sometimes people change their mind last minute. Lot of any final thoughts before I close it down? TFM, Patrick, Keisha, like I say, tune into the fight. It's gonna be a interesting one for sure. Inoue by decision, Spence by KO. That's TFM. I'll definitely do it. Hopefully, can do another live for the Spence Crawford, talking a bit more. My hour's almost up. I try not to, go over that. And everyone that stepped in, shout out to the chat. Any other thoughts from anyone before I close it down? Spence by decision. So 2 got Spence winning. Still got 7 in the chat. I might be wrong here. Any other final thoughts before I close this thing down? I've got 3 more minutes left before I close it off. But once again, I appreciate everyone's time. I appreciate everyone's patience. I apologize for the lag. All I gotta say is enjoy the fight. And, get your popcorn out. There's gonna be some fireworks, there's gonna be some hard hits for sure. Thanks for stopping in, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. Have a good one. If you catch the replay, leave your take.